Yeah. Hold up. Get right with you. I'ma get right with you. Bad bitches, fuck them, then dismiss them. Bang. I ain't really here to take no pictures.
Yo, what's up guys, back with another video, and today we got a mock draft of the Seattle expansion draft. If you guys didn't know, it's happening this Wednesday at 8 p.m. A lot of big players left exposed like Price and Tarasenko. So yeah, let's just get into it. Danton Heinen and Hayden Fleury are my two go-tos here on Anaheim. Danton Heinen needs a contract this summer, while Hayden Fleury has 1 more year left and is going to be in the RFA at the end of that deal. So Hayden Fleury put up more points in less games in Anaheim when he got traded here from Carolina as a 7th overall pick this trade deadline. And I really like this guy. He has a ton of upside, 25 years of age, left-handed defenseman. He's a big guy too. He can do everything, put up points and defend, so I really like him. Sonny Milano, a decent pick, 16th overall pick here, but just has improved himself. And Danton Heinen, a really good guy. I really like this guy. Can put up 30 to 40 points here as a winger, but I do feel like they go with Hayden Fleury here just because defensemen are more valuable, and this guy has way more upside than Danton Heinen. Next up on Arizona, it's Christian Fischer or bust here. If they don't go for him, they're missing out big time. This guy has 1 more year left and an RFA at the end of that deal. 24 years old, big guy, is a right-handed shooter, right wing. He goes to the dirt areas, goes in front of the net, forecheck, backchecks hard, skates fast. I really like this guy. You can put up 20 to 30 points, maybe even more depending on the season, but I really like this guy. I think there's 3 unrestricted free agents that Seattle can go for here that are very good and have potential to be a good player. First off is Nick Ritchie, second is Andre Kasha, and third is Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall obviously going to be a free agent this summer. What Seattle can do, in my opinion, they could take him, try to sign him for 1-2 years, prove his worth like he just did, or they can flip him for assets, draft picks, prospects, whatever, just so people can get his UFA rights. Andre Kasha has injury problems, so I don't know if they go for him, but he's been good in the past. But I think the 2 options here are better. Nick Ritchie, very good as well. He's going to be an RFA, 26 points in 56 games. Very, very good. They could go for him, but I think they should go for Taylor Hall to get some more assets. So next up, we got the Buffalo Sabres, and for me, it's between Jake McCabe and Colin Miller. But seeing that Colin Miller's got 1 more year left at $3.875 million, right-handed D-man, and the fact that he got selected by Vegas in their expansion draft, I think they do go for Colin Miller. He has shown that he can put up points as a D-man with 41 points in 82 games with Vegas in their first inaugural season. So I think Seattle goes for Colin Miller. And then on Calgary, I think they're going to be going for Mark Giordano. It's all but confirmed with him. 1 more year left at $6.875. Not a bad defenseman anymore. Won the Norris 2 seasons ago, or 2 seasons ago actually. And yeah, so he's going to be heading to Seattle with Colin Miller. Next up on Carolina, I think, and the sources say, they're going to be going for Jake Bean, 23-year-old defenseman, RFA this summer, so they're going to have to pay him. But he has a lot of untapped potential, as they say. He put up 12 points in 42 games this season, and they kept him over Hayden Fleury, who was a Carolina Hurricane but got traded over to Anaheim. They could go for a guy like Hamilton and like flip him or do something like that, but I think it's safe to say they're going with Bean. Next up, the Chicago Blackhawks. In my opinion, there should be 2 people they should be looking at who are relatively young and need a contract this summer. That is Adam Gaudette and Vinny Hinostroza, both who've had some success in their careers so far. So Adam Gaudette, 24 years of age, can play center or wing, played for Vancouver before being shipped over to Chicago for Matthew Highmore. He put up 4 points in 7 games with Chicago, so that's pretty decent. He put up 7 in only 33 with Vancouver, while Vinny Hinostroza 12 and 17 this year for them after playing 9 in Florida with 0 points. Chicago's like a team where whoever comes in, they just strive in. I think that could be a place like Seattle, so I think Adam Gaudette will be the pick, but Vinny Hinostroza is not bad at all. Next up, we've got the Colorado Avalanche. They have a few big names you can go for, such as Linus Gogstad, Eric Johnson, but I think they do go for Jonas Donskor, as a lot of sources are saying. He's got 2 years left at 3.9, so not a bad contract, and for a guy who puts up 30 points a year at least, and potentially could have had 40 or 50 in a regular season this year, I think it's a very good option. He's easily a 3rd line scoring forward, can play power play like he did in Colorado, can also play 2nd line. For the Columbus Blue Jackets, if it's not Max Domi, something's wrong here. 26 years old, 1 more year at 5.3 mil. He's going to be a UFA at the end of that deal. He didn't do too good this season, but he did decent last year, and it was phenomenal the year before in his first year in Montreal. So they're going to be one from Max Domi. Next up in Dallas, it's between three for me: Oleksiak, Bishop, and Joel Hanley. Surprisingly, Jamie Oleksiak, he's a big boy, 6'7". He doesn't put up many points, but he's very good defensively, a very good all-around defenseman. So I think they could go for him, but he's a UFA. Next up, Ben Bishop. He has a bit of a cap hit at $5 million for 2-3 years. He has been decent when he was playing, but he has very bad injury problems, so it's not for sure he does play. And like I said, 2 more years at 4.9. And next up we got Joel Hanley, who's only making $700K for 2 more years, so he's an option. Puts up a decent amount of points in a sheltered role in Dallas, and it was a +6, so that's pretty good for a non-playoff team. So I think they do go for him with that limited cap space. I think it's good for them to take Joel Hanley, a very good depth defenseman. Next up for Detroit, it's between 3: Nemeskov, Chalowski, and Stetcher. Nemeskov's getting paid $2 million for 1 more year. He puts up a decent amount of points. I think his cap is a third liner right now, a third liner scoring forward, so I think he can be that for many teams around the league. Puts up around 30 to 40 points whenever he plays, so I think that's not a bad pick if they do decide to go for him. Next up, Chalowski, who is he's going to be an RFA this summer, so they're going to have to pay him, but not much. He has not proven himself in the NHL, so he's going to be under 1 million. He does not put points in the NHL. 16 points in 52 games was his high, so I don't think he goes much more than that unless, you know, he gets picked up by Seattle, gets a chance. Troy Stecher, I think, is the pick for me, getting paid $1.7 million for 1 more year. He played very well in the Canadian tournament this summer, the World Championships, I think, and he did decent in Detroit on a bad team, so I think they go for him. Next up on Florida, it's between 2: Drieger and Vetrano, and I know they're going to go for Drieger. They already have a deal in place to sign him. He did play very well in the regular season this year, not so well in the playoffs, but it's for sure going to be him. I'm 100% sure. But if I'm Seattle, I don't go for him. I think he's kind of like an Andrew Hammond from Ottawa, and it kind of makes sense because they're both from Ottawa, so maybe, you know, they shared each other's, like, I don't know, on ice skills. Anyway, I don't really like him as a player. I'd much rather go for Frank Vetrano. He plays very well, 30 to 40 points per year, and he put up 26 and 56 this year, and that's pretty good on a good Florida team. He has a few more years left on his contract, so I think he's not a bad pick. Next up, we got Jujar Cara from Edmonton. It's, like my sources say, 60 to 70% him or Tyler Benson. He's more of a fourth liner shutdown role. He's still young. He's going to be an RFA. So they could go for him. I see them going for him. Next up on the LA Kings, I think they're going to go with Blake Lizotte, $925 for 1 more year, and is going to be an RFA at the end of that deal. He's 23 years old, 5'7", a little small, but I think he can do the job. He's a left-handed shooter, and I really like him when I watch him play for LA, so I think they go for him. He's a young center, and they're valuable. Next up on Minnesota, I think it's an easy bet to go for Kaapo Kähkönen. He's going to be an RFA next year and getting paid $725, so that's easy money. 24 years old. He played very well in the regular season, 16-8 in his second pro season in the NHL, so I think it's an easy bet to go with him. In Montreal, I'm going a little riskier. Carey Price, though I think is a big name player, I do think they go with him. If not, it's going to be either Cale Fleury or Brett Kulak on defense, but Carey Price played phenomenal in the playoffs, so I think if they can go with them, they could sell a lot of jerseys and tickets much easier than if they went with someone else on Montreal. So I think they should go with Price, but I don't know if they will. Next up on Nashville, I really like Kelly Yonkrock. He's going to be a UFA in 1 more year, getting paid $2 million. He has a bunch of skill. He could be a second line scoring winger any day of the week. He can play up front, center, left wing, right wing, where it doesn't matter. This guy can be a 40-point guy easily. Next up in New Jersey, we got Will Butcher. He's got 1 more year left at 3.73. He's 26-year-old left-handed defenseman. This guy puts up points. He's like a Cale Makar, but obviously a lesser Cale Makar. He puts up 11 points in 23 games. He could be a 40 to 50-point guy on defense in the right setting. Next up on the Islanders, it's either Josh Bailey or Jordan Eberle, but Jordan Eberle, when he doesn't put up points, he's invisible on the ice, so I think Bailey is more impactful like in the entire game, and he puts up a lot of points. He played very well in the past 4 seasons, and he really proved himself. Next up on the New York Rangers, I really like this guy, Colin Blackwell, very underrated. 1 more year left until he's a UFA, and he's not getting paid. I really like this guy. He's very fast, very skilled, so if he can prove himself again like he did in New York, I think he can be a great second to third liner. Ottawa Senators, I really like this guy, Vitaly Abramov. He was a third round pick for Columbus in 2016. He puts up points everywhere else than the NHL, and he hasn't really had a shot in the NHL yet on a weak Ottawa team. This guy has a bunch of skill. He's a grinder. He puts up goals. I really like this guy. I hope they go for him. Next up on Philly, I think they go with Jermaine Rupstov. There wasn't really anyone else on Philly I really liked, and this guy has potential to turn out. He just hasn't really proved himself on North America ice yet, so if he can have that chance and just play his game, I think he'd be a very good center, and centers, like I said, are very important in this league, the basis of your team. Next up on Pittsburgh, I think it's a very easy pick here. Zach Aston Reese. This guy can play anywhere in your lineup, anywhere on the ice, penalty kill, power play, doesn't really matter. This guy is a very good forward, a grinder, skates hard, back check, forecheck, goes to the net, and can put up 20 to 30 points in a regular season. Next up on San Jose, I really like Christian Yaros when I saw him play in Ottawa. I'm from Montreal, so I see him play often. He puts up a decent amount of points if he can play in the right setting again, but I think he's more of a third D pair that could put up maybe 20 points and be a good defensive defenseman, so not bad there. Next up on the St. Louis Blues, if they don't go for Tarasenko, it's either that they feel like they wouldn't get enough if they traded him, because I don't think he's going to stay in Seattle if they do take him, so I think they're just going to try to flip him after they take him. This guy's a goal scorer, 40 goals easily in a regular season. So I think if they don't go for him, it's a huge miss. Next up on Tampa, I don't know why everyone wants Yanni Gourde. He's getting paid a shit ton, and I just don't really like him as a forward. Andre Palazzo, way better pick. Though he plays on a very good line. He's got one more year left at a reasonable cap hit. So I think if they could flip him at the trade deadline or keep him if they're a good team, then I think it's a huge plus. This guy puts up points. Playoffs or early season does not really matter with him. Next up on Toronto, I do feel like there's a trade in place for them to take Alexander Kerfoot, but I feel the better player is Jared Mcgann, who's going to be an RFA one more year, still 25 years of age. So he's a very young guy, and this guy put up 32 points in 43 games this season. So coming off a huge season for him. His best season in the NHL points per game wise, as there wasn't really a full regular season. Next up on Vancouver, I was thinking Cole Lind, a good young guy, but I feel like Madison Bowey to strengthen that D-core. He can be a very good depth defenseman, very good all around. Can put up maybe 20 points, and he's going to be a UFA in one more year on on a great contract. I would say $725 is not a bad cap hit. Put up maybe 20 to 30 points, like I said, and pretty good defensive defenseman. On Washington, easy pick here. Vitek Vanacek played very well this season with a 21-10-2 record, and did not play in the playoffs because Samsonov was there, and he kind of stole his spot again like he did in the regular season. And lastly, I think we got Winnipeg here, and they're going to go for Dylan DeMello. This guy is a very good defenseman, can play anywhere, power play, penalty kill, and he's a very good defensive defenseman, getting paid $3 million for 3 more years. And if you hear what Paul Maurice says about him, he's a very good all-around defenseman that does everything right, very smart with the puck, very patient, very composed, and was a plus 10 this year on a decent Winnipeg team. So not a very bad pick here. I really like Dylan DeMello. He can be a second-line D pair on Seattle. And this is our team here: Tarasenko, Domi, Palat, Bailey, Donskor. A lot of good offensive threats here. I really like Kelly Yonkrock and Blake Lazat and Colin Blackwell. They have a few guys to sign here, but not bad. I don't think they go for Taylor Hall after re-looking at it, but I think if they can maybe sign him and flip him or do something like that, there might be a deal in place for him in Seattle. So we'll see about that. And as you see, 16 forwards, 10 defensemen, 4 goalies. So I think we're good all there. 22 contracts out of 20. On our defense, I really like Will Butcher, Troy Stetcher, and Hayden Fleury, and Jake Bean. I think those are really good options. Very young decor. And then nets, Carey Price, like I said, I don't know if they do go for him, but they got very good young goalies in Kakin and Vanacek. So anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you guys on next time. Peace!